Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And in today's video, I have breaking news here of a topic that every Splinterlands player and dev team member should pay attention to. It is Return of the Bots and why a new proposal is needed ASAP. We're going to talk about it here, get into the data, get into the details, roll up our sleeves here, and I think you're going to be shocked and stunned. So first, I want to give a big shout out to a community and channel member here that has brought this data to my attention, and that is Mega Marcus. Mega Marcus, thank you for reaching out, sharing some of what you're seeing so we can dive into some of the data here and really uncover what's going on behind the scenes here. It's an insidious infestation of Splinterlands, and we're going to talk about it right here, right now. And make sure you stick around for the end of the video here, where we break down some interesting data and solutions as well. So let's start off. What is the return of the bots? What is the problem? Well, it's a multitude of exploits and loopholes and abuses that is just probably going to infuriate much of the player base, the real human players in Splinterlands. Let's talk about it here. All right, I am looking here at the battle history of a bot farm account. In this case, it is Huang An VN982. And this is interesting. If you look at this, right off the bat, you're going to see that it's using max battles here and win trading against its own bot farm here. Look at all of these battles. All of the battles on the left, the bot farm account is winning. It's submitting a soulbound summoner in most cases with 100% soulbound reward cards on the left here. And on the right, it's win trading with itself. It's just entering a summoner and one mana card, a Chaos Agent, a Morphoid, a Chaos Agent. You can see here the pattern. It's obviously a pattern. It's blatant win trading, which should be an abuse of terms of service, which immediately should basically, in my opinion, ban this account and forfeit it, in my opinion. Now, I'm harsh. I know that's not a decentralized viewpoint, but this is obviously an abuse of the game and should be bannable as an offense. Get those terms of service updated, Weirdbeard. Let's get to it. This is ridiculous. But what's interesting here is you can see over the last 20 hours, over the last 24 hours, it submitted at least 20 battles and win traded 100% of the time here using 100% soulbound reward cards. So this bot farm is not renting any cards. But yet, over the course of this 20 battles, it earned almost 2 SPS. Right, against win trading against another account that owned no cards. So what is happening here is a bot farm is win trading against itself. Its accounts have own no cards, rent no cards. So has zero skin in the game, has zero expenses other than the CPU power, right? It's using 100% soulbound reward cards or starter cards for the win trades. And yeah, it's printing SPS, right? And if you look at the rating here, it's already at a 1131 rating in modern. So if you look at what that puts it at, 1131 rating, it's farming silver SPS rewards and silver soulbound reward cards for no cost and no investment. And what is interesting is it's earned more SPS because it has a 100% win rate with this win trading than top 100 accounts in bronze earn, that own literally over 50,000 CP of cards and have invested their time and money into this game. This is not right. And I'm going to show you in just a little bit the cards on not only this particular bot farm account that they've earned from soulbound reward cards and show you that they don't own any cards, but I'm also going to show you all these other win trading accounts on the right here, the scale of magnitude of what's going on here. You may say that 2 SPS a day for a bot farm is not a big deal. Just ignore it. It's not a problem. Not a big deal. I'm going to say it is a big deal, and I'm going to show you why. But first, what I want to show you also is not only are the bots exploiting soulbound reward cards as a loophole, but they're exploiting the guild earnings of gladiator cards, which we'll talk about this a little bit later in the video, over 4.5 months ago. But look at this. This bot farm is a member of a guild, Silence Behind the Moon. Look at this. The win trading account is a member of a guild, Reynoldex. It's got more guild members here, Tan 394. It's got guild members in the guild B 337. So they are going in, and not only are they farming soulbound reward cards this way, but they're also farming gladiator cards, just leeching off other guilds in the ecosystem here. But let's take a look at the cards here. This is what the Huang on VN982 has. You can see these are all the soulbound reward cards. This particular farm has win traded and won for free at no cost. You can see it owns no cards, it's renting no cards, but has basically, I think, over 60 BCX of soulbound reward cards already farmed here. And then if you look at some of the cards it's win trading with, right, the accounts that were losing on this side of the fence in the last 24 hours, right, they were throwing battles, throwing 100% win rates to their opponents, right, the opponents in the bot farm. Look at these accounts. Look, this account, Lauren Dunya. Look at all the soulbound reward cards this account has, and not only soulbound reward cards, look at all the gladiator cards it has as well. So it's farming gladiator cards as well as soulbound reward cards. The next account over here, look at this one. This is H690. Look at all the gladiators and soulbound reward cards here. Same thing here with this Nam JP 400s accounts, more soulbound reward cards. Again, owning nothing, renting nothing, leeching off the ecosystem, just despicable. And you may say again, well, look, they're farming in silver, they're earning 2 SPS a day. Who cares, Tails? Who cares? Well, guess what? When they're doing it with literally hundreds or maybe thousands of accounts, guess what 200 SPS a day is? Guess what 2,000 SPS a day is? Well, that's a lot of SPS over the course of a day or a month with a bot farm that's just selling into you, laughing at you all the way to the bank as SPS goes closer and closer to zero. And guess what? We called this 2 months, in February 15th to be exact. We called this, we created a video. I'm gonna link a video in the video description here from the video on our channel from February 15th, which was 4.5 months ago, and let's talk about it here. So this is the video linked in the video description. If you haven't seen it or viewed it, I recommend highly that you do. We published this video on February 15th of this year. It was called A Discussion on Soulbound Reward Cards and a Warning. I actually took a lot of heat in the community for this because I said this was a serious problem. And it is a serious problem. We predicted this 4.5 months ago, this issue that we're seeing in Splinterlands today. And guess what? I don't even have to make new content to talk about how we can fix this problem that we're seeing here in the game today with this Huang Van V982 bot farm, right? I'm just going to play you clips from 4.5 months ago, the Tails telling you the warning and also giving you the solution on how this can be fixed. And guess what? If we can have a pre-proposal in place talking about soulbound reward cards and land, well, bet your bottom dollar we need to have a pre-proposal stat in place talking about soulbound reward cards and earning. This needs to be fixed. Let's hear the problem from 4.5 months ago, and let's also hear the solution. And then I have on this account forevermore the ability to print bronze minimum, silver more than likely, SPS rewards forevermore in this game. And then I can just move on to the next account and farm at the champion diamond level for, let's say, 2 months or less and do the same thing, rinse and repeat. So this is the issue, is bot farms are going to chew this up and eat this up, and this is going to make tons of bot farm accounts that are going to have soulbound reward cards at various levels for farming. Now, the most, ambitious bot farmers will probably, shoot for max level decks here for soulbound reward cards to farm max level rewards. But other farmers will be content with just creating literally thousands of soulbound reward accounts for them to farm forevermore in this game. I want to bring it to the community's attention because just because you ignore a problem doesn't mean the problem isn't there. And with it festering here, it could cause significant issues to the Splinterlands ecosystem, the Splinterlands game, and the Splinterlands economy. And this is why I bring this up because, yeah, I mean, again, I could stick my head in the sand and just be happy and say, hey, there's nothing I can do about it. Bot farms are going to farm, let them do it. But here is the point. The point is that you and I, as invested players of Splinterlands, are going to pay ultimately the price for this exploit via depressed SPS values, and honestly, perhaps the end of the game due to SPS value literally going to like sub-zero, like Axie SLP pricing, because, the play and earn aspect of the game is all based on SPS earnings right now. And if that tanks below 2 cents, and let's say it goes to 0.002 cents, that's bad news for all of us. So again, the reason I bring this up and want to call your attention to this as a problem is because I want to fix the problem. I don't want depressed SPS values, right? I don't want to see the game fail. If we can fix an issue or an exploit in the game, let's work as a community together to identify it, bring it to the attention of the development team, and fix it for everyone's benefit, right? There's no point in complaining just to complain. And that's why I identified the problem here today with you. And I want to talk about how this problem can be potentially addressed. Because again, complaining to complain or just bringing up problems and throwing up your hands and shrugging your shoulders and saying, hey, this is terrible, the sky is falling, doesn't do anyone any good. So here is when I'm initially thinking of the problem, I'm also looking to possibly think of possible solutions, right? And what we could possibly do as a game and as a community to address the problem I just talked through is basically two things. One would be to make soulbound reward cards unlockable. And you would make them unlockable either through the burning of DEC and or vouchers, or through potentially staking SPS on the cards to unlock them, right? I don't know how the second part would work necessarily because unlocking would most likely be a permanent thing on the blockchain. So more than likely, we would have to burn DEC and or vouchers to unlock a card. But the point here is you want to make there to be a conscious or investment of some type here to make earnings, basically to continue for those cards. Now, Gods Unchained, I've talked about this before, does this already with their daily play and earn system. They have essentially, they give starter decks or ghost card decks to use for players of the game, but you can only earn a minimal amount when you win games with those cards. It's only when in the Gods Unchained ecosystem you burn Flux and Gods tokens, which would essentially be probably similar to DEC and vouchers combined here. When you actually burn those things together to mint a card into a meteorite version of the card, then at that point in time it's unlocked, and then you can earn more rewards with that card, and you can continue leveling up that card by burning more essentially God's tokens and Flux, which was again the same as DEC or vouchers. The point being is to earn more in the game, you have to basically sink more also into the game to earn more, right? So that's a key element of the play and earn mechanics of that ecosystem. Now, the reason I bring up making soulbound cards unlockable through a sync of either DEC and or vouchers, it makes you have skin in the game to continue to earn with those cards. And you should couple that with reduce reward earning significantly when using soulbound reward cards. Perhaps this would be similar to how underleveled cards are treated today in Splinterlands, right? Because you don't want someone to, like I just did, basically farm silver level or bronze level reward cards in 2 weeks
and then just print SPS forevermore off that. And if I am printing SPS forevermore off those cards that I basically got for free in 2 weeks worth of time, right? It should be very, very minimal rewards unless I spend resources to make them essentially earning type cards, right? Now remember, the issue with soulbound rewards cards is that they can earn indefinitely and thus are similar to, but not the same as, the former ghost cards, but they inherit the same gain economy issues as the ghost cards did previously. The problem with soulbound reward cards is Splinterlands as a company, they can't take away soulbound reward cards from your account, and thus you really need to put some type of reward nerf or bottleneck here on these reward cards, else we really are going to have significant continuous downward pressure on SPS. Maybe not today, right? Maybe not today when the soulbound reward cards are just released, but a year from now, 2 years from now, this will be a problem, a literal infestation of soulbound bot farm accounts that will tank your value and my value of assets in this game.
So that was a blast from the past. That was Tales from 4.5 months ago, from February 15th, talking about the problem and potential solution. I just want to add here the present day Tales when we look at the current implementation of this abuse by the bot farms. I will say that just having unlock mechanisms and costs for the soulbound reward cards for earnings or reduced earnings without unlocking them is not going to be enough, because you can see here the X factor with what the bot farms are doing, the exploit that they're doing is they're doing 100% win trading with other bot farms. And that was not anticipated in, I guess it was 4.5 months ago when I originally created the video and the solutions. What needs to happen, honestly, is there needs to be a terms of service update to Splinterlands where win trading is forbidden, and there is a punishment, a harsh punishment for win trading in Splinterlands that prevents bots from doing this. Because if there's not a harsh punishment, if there is not a enforcement of the terms of service, this abuse will continue, and bots will just simply unlock, a 1 BCX Venari Marks Rat and a Wily Kaioshin and just win trade against each other and basically skirt around the SPS staking requirements, skirt around all of the rules and methods that we as humans have to abide by to earn in the game, and they're just going to do it by the hundreds of thousands. So we need to have true updates to the terms of service, actual enforcement of the terms of service, because look, I know no one wants to spend time or effort or money enforcing terms of service, but if you don't spend the money and the time and the effort to do this, the value of SPS will continue to go to zero, decline, and no one is going to come in and play Splinterlands moving forward. The reason why is because, as Matt has said himself, the reason why people would come to Splinterlands is because they can earn a token that's worth something. There are tokenomics and economics factors at play, and Matt and Aggie themselves have said that the competitive advantage or the true strength of Splinterland is the tokenomics, the play and earn aspects of the game, right here on display. If this is your crown jewel, the tokenomics, the value that you bring to SPS tokens and the asset holders, the token holders, protect it. Spend the money, spend the effort, update the terms of service, have someone on the support team or create a new team that enforces it. Because if you don't, your crown jewel, your competitive advantage, the thing that you think is the best part of Splinterlands, is going to fail miserably because of these loopholes, because of these abusers out there. Please, please, please take this message to heart. We've provided a roadmap here in this video to talk about how this can be addressed, possible solutions to, basically rectify this abuse and this problem. Again, the roadmap is there. Let's execute on it. Let's do something, and do something sooner rather than later. Until next time, keep stacking those stats.